Hello everyone, this is Zach again. Today I'm just going to be talking about following through with your plan. So basically, like if you emphasize a certain part of the board in like the beginning of the game or whatever, it's generally best to stick with your plan you tried with those stones. Where like if you put a lot of emphasis on one part of the side and you are playing on a Josuke and you have the option of keep on putting emphasis on that side or putting emphasis on another area, it's generally best to keep on putting emphasis on that side because that's where you're trying to develop. So I'm going to go ahead and give an example. So if you play out a variation something like this, it's a little bit different. What's usual is something like this, but if you didn't want to put so much emphasis on the corner and instead you wanted to go for the side, you could just simply push again and make a tiger's mouth. By the way, if you want to know how many times to keep on pushing like this, just keep in mind the proverb, you want to hane at the head of 2 or 3 stones. So generally you'll push until your opponent is either 4 stones or 3 stones. You can leave it like this or you can push once more. Considering how high he is off of the bottom, he's on the 6th line, I wouldn't want to keep on pushing. That would give him harder for white to invade in here later. You might focus on something like the corner like this. But anyways, so let's say black played out a variation like this. It's obvious that black is putting a lot of emphasis on the bottom. So let's say later in the game, white approaches his stone, black pincers, white chooses to go into the corner. You know black has 2 options here. He can block from this side, which is the most common, or he can block from this side. As we should know, blocking from this side is generally considered locally about equal. Black gets influence and some points, and white gets some points and gets out to the side. This gives white a lot more points than black, and black is purely focusing on influence. And if it was just an open board, this generally wouldn't be a good variation play out because the influence doesn't really equal out to the territory you're giving white. But if you do want to put a lot of emphasis on one part of the board, then this is a common way to play. So if you play out normally, you can see how much black is putting on emphasis on this part of the board. And you also see that it would be very hard for white to try to invade here because it would be very hard to run out since black is on the 7th line. And there's not too much space to make a base. Because if you try something like this, it would be very difficult for white to try to live locally. Anyways, so if black didn't block from this side, instead chose to block from this side, we would see it as a normal variation played out that most of us should know. And white jumps out. We'll see that white now got into this bottom that black could try to put so much emphasis on with this variation. So basically black just went against his plan by doing this. He put emphasis on this part of the board when before he had been putting emphasis on this part of the board, so he switched plans. And if he keeps on trying to develop this side, it's, for one thing, it's not going to be very many points in here, especially since black wanted to develop a lot in this area. He could have developed a lot in this area, and it's going to be a lot harder to do that since white is out to his side and the stone can't be cut off or attacked or anything because it's connected to this group. So this would be an example of going against what black had originally intended, which was to put emphasis on this part of the board. So, also, go back to the previous variation. When white went into the corner, he was putting emphasis on points and the corner, obviously. So, let's say black tries something weird, like he jumps out or something. Now white is switching his plan from putting emphasis onto the corner. Now he's putting emphasis on this part of the board right here, trying to reduce it. So the first thing as black we should do is not let white get both. So we have to keep him away from jumping out and getting to the corner. And then if white keeps on trying to reduce black, I'm not completely sure what the best move would be here, but you try to attack his base or something, or maybe jump out yourself. But if it went something like this, then if black tried to, say, counterattack, white started to counterattack, then black gets a lot of points in the corner, and he gets something towards his side also. So if you come across a game and your opponent plays something strange, that's not Joseki. Sometimes Josekis are strange, you don't know it, but I know this isn't. If they do something strange, first thing you want to do is make sure they don't get both. So if they're switching their plans to the corner to the center, then make sure either they don't get the center or they don't get the corner. In this case, black can make him not have the corner. And now black has to put all of his emphasis on this part of the board. Black has got a lot of points, and white is very weak. So if your opponent switches plans right away, don't freak out or anything. First thing to do is take away whatever he was planning before, and then attack him if he's weak or whatever, depending on the situation. Also, let's say white plays out a different type of variation. This is a variation not quite as many people know. It's one I personally like. The correct move for black in this case is to go over, and then white captures the stone, and black closes white in. White's peep is just to have a stone in this area. Since there's not really any oddity besides peeping, he might as well do it right now. Anyways, so as you can see, black was consistent with his plan. He went for the bottom of the board. But something that I see semi-often is, let's see if I can get back to it. When, just a second. When black gets to this case, I see sometimes that they don't close over like this, putting emphasis on the bottom, but instead they cut like this to try to attack these two stones. But because it looks like these stones are very weak. But again, this is going against the original flaw, what black was trying to do, which was putting emphasis on the bottom. Now he's putting a group on this side of the board, which is putting emphasis on this side of the board. Also, if white just extends, now black has to respond, or white will just cover over black, and black doesn't have a way out. You can read it out for yourself. So black has to respond, then white can attack this group a little bit, and then he can just make himself strong. Now he's reduced what black had in this area. He has a nice follow up here, And if black responds here, for one thing, he's only on the 4th line, and he was on the 6th line with these stones. Now he really can't use this as efficiently as he would have wanted to. And this move also looks very slow for black to use one space extension, especially since he's so strong in this area. So this would be an example of, again, black going against his plan and putting emphasis on this part of the board when he should have been putting it on this side part of the board. Also, it's not always best to stick with your plan. Let's say we have another example where let's say for instance I don't know, I'm sorry, I forgot to put this down here. Let's say white like throws a stone in here or something, because he sees that if this variation is played out, it's going to be very hard for him to try to invade this area. Then all you do, generally in most cases, is you just ignore it and keep on playing through. Now, either white needs to respond to this, or this corner will die. So if white does respond, then black can go ahead and come back and pincer the stone, and this is going to be very hard for white to survive in here. If white doesn't respond, and instead tries to make a base in this area, then black can just simply, I'm pretty sure this kills the corner. He can just try it to kill the corner like this. And then if white makes a base in this area, well, for one thing, black gets a lot of points over here, and white doesn't even have secure points down here. And so if going against your plan is worth more than, you know, sticking with it, like let's say instead of covering him, you pincer instead, and white just plays on a normal variation. This might be also possible, but there's for one thing odd with the cut, and you'd be putting emphasis on a very small area, because this stone can't die. So sometimes it's okay to go against your plan and let your opponent do something in where you had originally intended to put emphasis on, but only if what you're doing on the other side of the board is worth more than whatever you put emphasis on. Obviously, Go doesn't have any strict rules besides the rules that you know, obviously are strict, like where you place the stone and stuff. But what I explained with how you want to put your emphasis on a certain part of the board and stuff is really Go theory, which means that it's not true in every single case. So if really the point of Go is just to try to get as many points and win, so if one thing is worth more than another thing, then go with what is worth more. So it's most times better to put as much emphasis on what you're trying to develop, but that's not always the case. So that's really what makes Go so hard, is trying to decide what's worth more, what do I do and want in this case, and it's something you will learn the more you play. So I hope this commentary helps some people. If you have any questions or anything, just comment or send me a message or something. If you liked it, please subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you guys all later.